And welcome back to Real Ag Radio here on the Farmer Rapid Fire, brought to you by Corteva Agriscience. We're joined right now from Corteva. It is Rhett Duke. He's the technical sales agronomist for Southern Saskatchewan with Corteva Agriscience. Hey, Rhett, how are we doing?
Good. How are you doing today, Sean?
Pretty good. Hey, you got some snow on the ground out there?
Yeah, you know what? We're still hanging on to a little bit here in southern Saskatchewan and kind of been a nice slow melt, quite frankly. So I think hopefully recharging a bit of those reserves as we head into spring season and giving the growers some optimism as we approach our busy season here.
We are fast approaching it though. Like it's
Yeah.
we're into April, right? So it's here before you know it, and I know there is some seed going on the ground in the northern plains of the U.S. So it's encroaching itself north, so to speak. During the commercial break, we were talking about kochia, and you had described kochia very well. Resistant kochia has officially reached celebrity status this winter. I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, you know what? That's definitely a topic that I cover quite a bit in my travels here in South Sask, Sean. And you know what? I refer to it as a celebrity, and it's kind of tongue in cheek because it's really for all the wrong reasons. This kochia plant we're trying to deal with today, we all understand incredibly competitive, especially when we go through some of our traditional Western Canada conditions, i.e., hot and dry. And, unlike some of our field crops that we're growing, this stuff is able to tolerate the very saline field conditions, where our crops can really struggle. So I think, a lot of my conversation with customers and retails at this time of the year is just trying to wrap our heads around how are we going to forge a plan to effectively manage this weed that now has claimed resistance and is well documented in being resistant to group 2, 4, 9, and 14 herbicides. So our options are limited. And, with what we have on the marketplace today, we do have to think about using them strategically and not alone in a silo, also incorporating some of those cultural practices ultimately to improve the competitive ability of our wheat and barley crop.
Yeah, somebody had asked me, so where does kochia really thrive? And I said, where there's soil.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems to, and then we can laugh. It's such a big problem. We can laugh about it. You have to, or else it just makes you kind of cry. Um, okay, so knowing all those different groups that kochia has some resistance to in different forms or fashions, depending on your own farm, what do we do? What like we obviously we just can't give up and say we'll just let the kochia take over. We got a crop to plant and harvest here. So what's the best thing to do, Rhett?
Yeah, you know what? I think for a lot of growers and folks like myself, we do like to think around, rather than just throwing up our arms and saying, we can't win this battle. We're going to think about how we can. And, a lot of what I think when I hear the news and the media come through with new updates, and today was no different, actually. The Canadian Agronomist published a report around Group 14 kochia being found in southern Saskatchewan. And I think it's important for folks to understand that when we do identify resistance to herbicide groups, we do not want to throw those tools out of our toolbox. We need to continue using them to manage other weeds that are in the field, but we also have to consider how we can rotate and utilize different tank mixtures year over year as part of a long-term management strategy so that ultimately we're able to stay ahead of this kochia weed and maintain a level of yield and profitability on our farms.
Mm. So same practices with some other resistant weeds, like, multiple modes of action, herbicide layering. Those are the things that we're supposed to do.
Yeah, you bet. So I think, to me, it all starts with that pre-seed burn down, right? We need to make sure that we're controlling kochia when it's very, very small. So utilizing a pre-seed add-in, something like Corex 2 with your glyphosate is going to do a good job of getting that initial hit on kochia. And then after that, I think what farmers need to do is focus on establishing a healthy and competitive cereal crop. So doing a lot of those things in your control, like utilizing a good seed treatment to maintain that early season vigor, get it out of the ground quickly, start to cover some ground and hopefully get it into a position where it starts to choke out some of the subsequent flushes of kochia that are definitely prone to happening to us here in Western Canada.
Yeah.
And I think,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just going
Oh,
to finish my thought there. And I think as we move forward, in my chair, it's just becoming increasingly important for farmers really to make sure they're accurately keeping records over the herbicides that they're using on their cereal acre year over year, because this is going to enable this long-term management strategy that I spoke about in ultimately rotating between different groups and trying to keep an edge on this weed.
yeah. And I think the key part there, this problem's not going away. Now, hopefully, there are some magical solutions at some point, but that's yeah, I don't know if you can count on that. So I think your point there on the record keeping is a really good one. That this is the strategy that we are kind of relying on for I guess in the near term. And so we need to make sure that we have those records. We know the groups we've been using and what we've been doing. Just not relying on brand names, but making sure that we have that more detailed information as we go forward. Because I know everybody out there doesn't have it, and it's okay. You could start now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think, after we get that crop established and we're looking at what our options look like in terms of in-crop herbicides, I think one of the new ones here from Corteva, our new on deck wheat and barley herbicide, does a really, really nice job at managing all those different types of resistant kochia that may be present in the field. This is a unique and a new combination of both a 6 and a 27 herbicide. So group 6 bromoxynil as well as a group 27 called tolpyrrolate. These really come together to give you not only outstanding management of that resistant kochia, but are also able to tick off a large number of other resistant weeds we're battling within our fields as well. I'm thinking about a laundry list of group 2 resistant weeds that we know are well documented. And then, the unique differentiator for us with On Deck is that we're actually able to take down some resistant grassy weeds with this product without a group 1 or 2 graminicide in the tank. So stuff like group 1 and 2 resistant green and yellow foxtail, as well as group 2 resistant barnyard grass, you're going to get really good control of that and not apply additional selection pressure out in the field to those weeds.
Well, Rhett, it's been great to have you here today on Real Ag Radio. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate your time as well. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah, great stuff. That's Rhett Duke. He's technical sales agronomist in Southern Saskatchewan for Corteva Agriscience, of course, the sponsor of the Farmer Rapid Fire. Make sure you talk to your local Corteva rep or your local retailer about products like On Deck.